Welcome to the review for the quiz on whatever Friday is, the 21st, September 21st. It's pretty quick. I think it's going to be pretty easy. I think you guys are going to do a great job. I just want to make sure I give you as much help as possible. So, first question says, which graph best represents the line passing through the point 0, 4 and perpendicular to y equals 1/2 x? Now, there's a hint here that won't be on the quiz, so this is why it's here for you on the review. First part of the hint is, what is the slope of this line? So here's this line. The slope of the line is 1/2. The second question is, what is the slope of a perpendicular line? Now remember, perpendicular line is a negative reciprocal, which means we flip the fraction and change the sign. So this would be -2/1 or a slope of -2. So what we need to do is go through each of these graphs and figure out which one has a slope of -2 and goes through that point. Well, if you look at them, they all go through the point 0, 4. So that's not going to help us. What we do need to figure out is, what is the slope of each of these lines? So we find two pretty points. I'm going to use this one here for A, and this one I'm going to go up and right. That's up 4. That is right 2. So my rise over run would be 4/2, which is +2. Okay, that's not going to be correct. Over here, I'm going to find two pretty points. I've got one here, I've got one here. I'm going to go down, that's down 2, and right 4. Okay, my rise over run would be -2/4, which is the same as -1/2. That's not the same as -2, so that one's out. Letter C, here's a pretty point, here's a pretty point. I'm going to go down and to the right, so down 4 spaces, to the right 2 spaces. That's going to give me a slope of -4/2, which reduces to -2. C is my perpendicular slope. Number 2 asks, which equation gives a line perpendicular to the graph shown below? So, a couple things we need to do here. First of all, read the hint. What is the slope of this line? Okay, well, we need to find that. So I'm going to find a pretty point. Here's one, and here's one. I'm going to draw my triangle here. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's up 4. 1, 2, 3. That's right 3. So rise over run is 4/3. What is the slope of a perpendicular line? Well, it's going to be the negative reciprocal. So 4/3 to make perpendicular becomes -3/4. So I'm looking for that number here as the slope. And if you look, B has a slope of -3/4. That's my correct answer. Next question asks, write an equation in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through 6, -2 and is parallel to y equals 1/3 x minus 9. Hint again, what is the slope of this line? Well, the slope of this line is 1/3. What is the slope of a parallel line? Well, parallel lines have the same slope. So we're going to use this point, x1, y1, plug it into our point slope form equation to find the new line. So this becomes y minus -2 equals 1/3 times x minus 6. This is a very commonly easy to make mistake in not changing these two negatives to a y plus 2 equals 1/3. If we distribute here, 1/3 times x is 1/3 x. 1/3 times -6 is a -2. You can use a calculator for that if you need to. Okay, I'm going to just rewrite that up here so we can have a little bit of room to do the math. I'm not changing anything, I'm just rewriting it to give us some space. And I am going to solve this by subtracting 2 from both sides. This cancels here, gives me y equals 1/3 x minus 4. And that is the equation of a line parallel to this line that goes through this point. There you go. Go ahead and take a look at the next page. We'll do the first section at least. It says, write an equation in slope-intercept form of a line that passes through 4, -2 and it's perpendicular to y equals 1/3 x minus 9. So what is the slope of this line? Well, this is the same equation we had a second ago. Slope of a perpendicular line? Okay, well that's going to be negative reciprocal, so -3/1 or just -3. Either of those numbers work. And we're going to use this point, x1, y1, to plug into that same formula. So y minus -2 equals -3 times x minus 4. Again, these two negatives are going to turn to a positive. And then we're going to distribute and solve for y. So here, I'm just going to go ahead and think ahead and put it over here. Y plus 2, negative 3 times x is negative 3x. Negative 3 times negative 4 is positive 12. Okay, then I need to solve this by subtracting 2 from both sides. 2, which gives me y equals negative 3x plus 10. That's my solution there. Number 5 asks us to write an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the point negative 4, 1 and is parallel to the line graphed below. Hint, what is the slope of this line? Okay, well let's go ahead and find that slope. That's down 2, that is right 4. Rise over run, negative 2 over 4 reduces to negative 1/2. So m equals negative 1/2. What is the slope of a parallel line? It is exactly the same. And we're going to use this point, x1, y1, plug it in and find the new equation. So y minus 1 equals negative 1/2 times x minus negative 4. Again, we've got the two negatives in a row, so let's just simplify this a bit before we go into our multiplying. X plus 4. Now we're going to distribute. Negative 1/2 times x is negative 1/2 x. Negative 1/2 times 4 is negative 2. And I've still got this y minus 1 over here just hanging out waiting for something to do. Now I need to solve this for y, which means I need to add 1 to both sides, which gives me y equals negative 1/2 x. Negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. And this is the equation for the parallel line to this line here. Let's go ahead and take a break before we get into the direct variation problems.